From the Stereo Sound Record Studios. Your hosts, Wes Everett and Haley Pearl. This is the Mosh Pit.
Welcome to the Mosh Pit, your home for unsigned punk, rock, and metal artists, where your music goes to be heard.
Cemetery night, was Friday Giants with Something Worth Saving, and the song before that was Stonecutters with The Living Dead. What's up, guys? It's Haley Pearl, aka The Sound Chick, on the Mosh Pit. Today we have an exciting interview with Halysis talking about their new music and quarantine lifestyle. As always, a major shout out to the band for working so well with us for getting this interview to you guys during the pandemic. Hope you enjoy!
Hi, my name is Jose Pynnönen and I play guitar in Halysis.
So what's the backstory behind the name of the band Halysis?
It took us a long time to come up with the band name, actually. We wanted to have something that was simple and easy to remember. Unfortunately, there isn't really a meaningful story behind the name itself. It was a word that I found and thought it sounded cool, so I showed it to the rest of the guys. They liked it, so we decided to keep it as our band name.
Who is your inspiration for getting into music?
We all have slightly different backgrounds when it comes to music. Growing up, I remember my dad playing lots of heavy metal, rock, prog and blues. Bands like Iron Maiden, Focus, Yes, Rush, Motorhead, and of course Metallica, which I think I speak for all of us, was the biggest inspiration for us early on. When me, Samuel and Santeri started playing, we were really into bands like As I Lay Dying, Killswitch Engage and Trivium. And after Santeri, our second guitar player, joined in 2015, he really showed us the world of technical death metal and progressive metal. Bands like Between the Buried and Me and Neo Oblivious Skyris, Beyond Creation and The Faceless, just to name a few. We really embraced that sound and drew influences from all those bands. And I think you can hear it on Cerulean.
This is Celestial Vortex by Halysis.
In the dark
the band first started, did you ever think you would make it to where you are now musically?
Definitely not. When we first started playing, we were strictly on the metalcore side, and it wasn't until 2015, when Sandra joined our band, that we started to realize in which direction we wanted to go with our sound. I think we managed to capture something special musically on Cerulean, and I think it sounds like us.
What is your biggest challenge as a band?
Right now, I'd say the fact that we can't play live, meaning that there's a global pandemic going on. That obviously makes playing shows pretty hard. So getting our name out there in that sense is challenging.
What are 3 goals you have for Halysis?
3 goals. Firstly, I'd say get ourselves out there and play shows as soon as possible. Secondly, to do our best to reach a bigger audience and maybe release some merchandise. And thirdly, to release new music with our new vocalist.
We noticed that you released the Cerulean album and a lyric video recently. How was that process working on the Cerulean project amidst the pandemic?
Well, we recorded and mixed and had the album mastered way before the whole Corona thing. Since we didn't use a professional studio and basically just our own gear, we had no time limitations and it was actually pretty easy to make this album. It's a shame that it came out during a time like this, but in the end I'm pleased with the record and I'm proud that we got it out there.
You're now listening to Animus by Halysis.
From the
from Shade Empire covered one of your songs. What was it like to experience a fellow musician covering your music?
It's awesome. We know Henry and he's such a cool dude. Has a great voice, is super talented, and it's very humbling to see someone taking an interest in your band and actually learning your music. So if you haven't already, check out his band, Shade Empire.
If you could collaborate with an artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
That's a hard one. But as a guitar player, I'm gonna have to go with Jason Richardson or Rafael Trujillo. Those two are my favorite guitar players, so it'd be sick to have a guest solo by one of those guys. Even though I could never play it probably. It'd also be sick to have a guest vocal spot, like Michael Okerfeldt from Opeth. That would be so awesome.
Have you noticed any effects the pandemic has made in regards to engagement with your music from followers?
It's really hard to say since this is our first release, and being our first release, there's nothing we can compare the reception of this album to in that regard. But we're still extremely grateful for the support we've gotten so far.
Have you guys considered doing live stream shows over social media during this pandemic?
Right now, no, it's not in the works. The amount of resources and time it would take is something that we don't have right now, but it is a very cool idea and we'd totally be down to do that, but maybe in the future it's not something that we're currently working on.
What's the first action each band will make after the pandemic?
Well, I'd imagine get back on the road and keep touring. It must have been horrible to cancel all those tours when this all started, and now that this whole thing is finally blown over, it must feel great to reschedule all those dates and get back on the stage. I personally can't wait to go see a band live again. It's great.
This is Arbiter from Halysis.
And here's From the Pub to the Graveyard. Consider yourself dead.
And I don't mean to be intrusive, but I saw you standing there. And I don't mean to be unsettling, but I wish you'd come over here. And I don't mean to be disgusting, but I think you'll find it that way. But I've got too much going on to notice what's wrong. And you've been alone for so long, they won't realize you're gone. You're all gone. And I don't want you to forgive me when I tell you all the bad things. And I don't want you to believe me when I tell you any good. Hey little baby, by the telephone, I won't stop calling. I won't leave you alone. So write your letters home while you still can. If I kept you out, I consider yourself dead. Hey little baby, by the telephone, I won't stop calling. I won't leave you alone. So write your letters home while you still can. If I kept you out, I consider yourself dead. You don't need to know me, just know that I know you. And I don't feed until night, but I'm hungry, so please don't put up a fight. You don't need to know me, just know that I know you. And I don't feed until night, but I'm hungry, so please don't put up a fight. And I don't want you to forgive me when I tell you all the bad things. And I don't want you to believe me when I tell you any good. Hey little baby, by the telephone, I won't stop calling. I won't leave you alone. So write your letters down while you still can. If I kept you out, I consider yourself dead. Hey little baby, by the telephone, I won't stop calling. I won't leave you alone. So write your letters down while you still can. If I kept you out, I consider yourself dead. Consider yourself dead. Consider yourself dead. Dead, 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 oh no. Consider yourself dead.
How do you think the music industry, especially the heavier genres, will fare after the pandemic?
Well, I'd hope that after this whole corona thing blows over, we can get back to the way things used to be and get all the touring bands back on the road and hopefully get even more fans to the live shows and get more bands on the road. I mean, it's been a couple of rough months for many bands out there, many artists out there who solely rely on touring. So I hope for the best, so to say. So we'll see.
What has been your quarantine lifestyle? Do you still find a way to stay musically active?
Actually, yes. In a weird way, the quarantine has inspired the new music. And since we can't leave our homes, there's literally no excuse to not practice and write new music. The state of the world right now has made the new music even more heavier and more progressive and technical than the last album, and we can't wait to share it with you guys.
I'm sure you've noticed the George Floyd and Black Lives Matter protests right now. If you could pick one social topic to write a song or album on, what would it be and why?
Yeah, of course we're aware of the protests, and the situation with George Floyd is absolutely horrible. I strongly believe that the people behind these horrible acts should be brought to justice and face the consequences of their actions. But one social topic, it's really hard to say, because the way we write music and lyrics isn't direct like that. I'm not the main lyricist in our band. That would be Sandre, our guitar player, or Samuel, our drummer. And the way they write is kind of vague and open for interpretation. And we do that because we want to hear other people's interpretations of the lyrics. If we were to explain every line, we would kind of take that from the listener, and we don't want to do that. And music, it is affected by the state of the world. Especially lately, I opened the news and it's just horrible what's going on. But I feel kind of lucky, and I'm sure the other guys in the band also feel this, that we have this release of the negative emotions through our music. Through my writing, I get rid of all those negative emotions, and I'm very lucky to have that. But one social topic, that's too hard for me to decide. I don't know.
This is Through the Darkness from Rusted Soul.
On a train going nowhere, so far from home here. In my mind, insanity, it's clear to me how some folks lose their ways into darkness. But I'll get through the darkness, I'll get through the rain, into the bliss life brought me. I look into the world, far from heaven. Hearken to me, I see the key that sends the man unburned, just from heaven. But I'll get through the darkness, I'll get through the rain, into the bliss life brought me. Then I remember
Upside with Realms.
Takes time to figure out you. You can't control it. You can't control it. Brace yourself from this self. You found too many times the world you left behind, and this try and take my voice. You try and break my bones, and you refuse again. That's why it's not your own. Flesh and blood will come in past time, dripping from it. Hourglass situations we create, feeling like there's no escape. Battle cry, bad, bad. I know this is not the same. Whoa, this is not the same. It takes time to figure out you. You will be old and you will be old and brace yourself right now. No, I could tell right now. Fight is not your own. The struggle that I know, and this flesh and blood will come in past time, dripping from it. Hourglass situations we create, feeling like there's no escape. Battle cry, bad, bad. I know this is not the same. Whoa, this is not the same. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and against rulers, and against the rulers of the darkness of this age, and against spiritual wickedness in high places. You will not take me! I will rise. I will rise.
Be sure to check out more awesome interviews on The Sound Chick at www.thesound-chick.com. In the meantime, rock on, my dudes.
From the Stereo Sound Records Studios, the Mosh Pit Podcast. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the Mosh Pit belong solely to the author, and not necessarily to the organization, committee, or other group or individual. Any questions, concerns, or comments can be emailed to themoshpit@stereosoundrecords.com.